Hi,
Hi.
Tracy.
Hi. So nice to meet you.
You too. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time today to help me promote Peepkins. That means a lot. Thank you.
My absolute pleasure. I actually truly enjoyed the show, and I would listen to it on my own.
Really, Tracy? Like when you're going to sleep?
Well, I have two teens, so that's all the time. So that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing because I could sleep anytime.
Oh,
So
I need your advice with the teens.
no, seriously, I really enjoyed it. My biggest writing in the notes, which you won't be able to see, is maybe small, emotions are big, ideas must be heard. Like
Oh, Tracy, I love that.
honestly, like I have all other notes to ask you about like the things, but that's what stuck with me the most because I think that that's what kids get stuck with is that because they're little people don't see them as having real things happening to them and real thoughts as well, big ideas. So that was the biggest walk away for me. And I thought that I would start there with you, if that's okay, as where if you wanted to speak to if that as a starting place.
I love that you clock on the idea that kids aren't heard or they're shut down pretty quickly. I'm a very flawed mother. I don't give like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not where I live, it feels like there's a lot of judgment on what it is to be a mom, you know? And I'm not great at being like super involved with the school or giving my son like only organic foods. You know what I mean? I'm just not, there's just too much going on. And I'm the youngest child. I just have an older brother, but I didn't know what kind of shoe motherhood, how it would fit with me. I had my son at 35. I never really envisioned a large family or, but I, I just didn't know what it was going to bring to me. And I didn't know how I never felt like much of a nurturer, really. Um, and I felt like the attention seeker, the showman, a little bit. And I am proud though that I, when my son is telling me a story about something that happened at school, if he got into trouble or something like this, I'm proud that I really listen to him instead of jumping to a conclusion. And like, I want him to feel if he had a sense of injustice towards it, I at least want him to be heard, even if he's guilty. I want to know the story, and I'm proud of that. Um, and I try to employ that with my stepson, who is 16 now, and just really, really listen to him and ask him important questions and without judgment. I finally kind of, after struggling with being a stepmom, like not knowing to two teenagers, like not knowing if I have the, if I, if it's my place to ask them to do chores, or if it's my place to tell them to do their homework, or if it's my place to employ sort of other restrictions. And I really work on like getting to like, I have, what I realized, I guess, is that as a stepmom, I do have a privilege. I have a privileged place where I can just be the fun, supportive one. And I don't have to bug them about anything. And once like, and I really try to adopt that, and it was kind of a relief to sort of embrace that idea instead of like, oh my God, we're paying for her car, like, and she doesn't do anything, you know.
No, that's actually a really great way to look at it, is that you have a different position and you can just embrace it.
Totally. It's been a relief. I mean, sure, are there things that like make me a little crazy, like when the hamster's cage hasn't been cleaned for a few months and the house is starting to smell like urine?
I know what that smells like. We had rats for a while. I'm very aware what small mammal cages that aren't cleaned smells like. I get you.
We have two
It's
snakes.
the worst smell in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. But I really, it relieves me internally too, to attempt to not grind on the stuff that will pass, you know. And like I said, you know, like once I kind of attempted to embrace that mindset, my relationships, it totally improved with them. Of course they did, you know, because I'm actually attempting to listen. And like I said, I get like the special privilege of like being able to talk to, especially my stepson, intimately about like his relationships and everything. And I get to come down almost to his level a little bit. You know, I get to meet him in the middle. I don't have to be an enforcer.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. I really appreciate your opening up with this sort of line of idea, like that you said ideas should be heard, right? That was,
yeah. Well, and that's what I took away from the series, is that it was teaching that, and not teaching like, you know, but like, and just that they were, you know, even just with Noah hearing behind the Von Bear, you know, his, in the very first with the circus, he heard him. He didn't just like say, oh, he ruined everything for us. He heard what was behind it, that it was about communication, and it, you know, and I responded really deeply to that it was a story that was enjoyable. And by the way, you are the winner of the cute contest. Now, I haven't heard the last 10 years, obviously. So to Jack's credit, he, you know, it was a one-sided contest, but Patch is adorable.
I don't want to be adorable. I want to be strong.
Oh, you can be strong and be adorable at the same time. I think that's totally doable. I think that's part of the story, right?
Yeah, I think so too. And everybody can have their own dreams, you know. Traci, I love your voice. Who is this person?
Well,
I love your voice.
Oh,
you just had like a great character. You are practiced. That's amazing.
Years of acting before I had children. It just comes out. I can't stop it. Sorry.
I love it. No, I love it. I love that so much.
And I liked that the best friend, it wasn't easy. I liked that they didn't make it easy. Like it wasn't one of these like 1, 2, 3 and everything was fixed, you know. Because I think sometimes children's stories targeted families and targeted children are too easy. Mm-hmm. The resolution, I think it's important for children to know that sometimes things don't get fixed right away, or they don't get fixed at all, or you have to work for it. And I really liked that about the story as well.
I really appreciate you saying that, because, and I think you're right. I think it's, it does present conflict in a slightly more complicated way. And at the same time, I think it also feels really safe, you know?
I do agree. And there's especially, I think, because it's anchored with you and and Noah's character and the friendship there, and I feel like they know they have each other, and I think that
Yeah.
that really gives it a bond that's based on.
Can I tell you something that I haven't told anybody, but not because mostly I sort of forgot it. This is my first day doing press for Peepkins. I did a little bit before, but of course it makes me reflect on the experience. And I remember when I was singing one of the songs, and I don't sing. I tried to make the creators aware of that.
It was wonderful.
But I started getting really emotional. Like it really, like something about, I was singing, I think the Flysicle song, or what was one of the other ones? Anyway, it really was, it took me by surprise. I pride myself on not getting emotional, I want to have a hard shell at times. But it was really, it was just, there was something about it that felt kind of fundamentally beautiful and peaceful and hopeful and sad at the same time.
I totally see that. I think it's because, again, I think that place of what it was for and about, and I can imagine that it. I mean, it's just kind of core things, especially with you having a 10-year-old, because it's such a fun age.
I am loving it. I'm loving it. And as I love it, and this is like one of the gifts of being an older mom, is I think is that I'm also like pre-mourning, his growth. Like I'm waiting for the day that when I hug him, it's up here. And
my 19-year-old is on his way to 6'2".
I know. And then they started to get treated like adults when they're tall like that. Like my 16-year-old stepson is 6'4" or 6. He's like 6'3". He's tall. He's really tall. And I think that subconsciously that also has made me in the past treat him like before I embraced the philosophy of being the fun person. It was always like, why isn't that kid like taking out the garbage, or like, why, like I didn't recognize that he still valued safety.
Yes. Yeah. My 19-year-old is very much not an adult. I just will put that out. He's just like, nah. But speaking of very tall, you are doing this with Diedrich Bader, whom I have adored since way back in the Drew Carey days. Like comic genius.
Totally.
And then you're working with Maulik and Pancholy. And I wanted to know, since this is a podcast, do you guys get to work together, or is it still like a voiceover where you're separated?
It's still a voiceover where we're separated. I know. But we do have the benefit, like Zoom has giveth and taketh.
Yes.
Because back, like when I was doing Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or whatever, everything was individual. We did do one group recording, but it felt almost presentational or something because they didn't use any of because it has to be so precise for the animators. But so no, unfortunately, I've never met anybody in person.
Oh.
Doesn't it feel like that though? Don't you have relationships now over Zoom with people that you've never met?
Oh yeah. Well, I started blogging like ages ago because I became a military wife after 9/11. That's when I quit acting. And so I have friends all over the world that like I've never met in person. I've just like the internet, same thing, can be the best place in the world or the worst place in the world. Just depends on who's behind the keyboard.
Yep. Yeah, completely. Did you ever, okay, I don't want to divert too much from Peepkins, but did you ever?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No. I mean, this is on me. Because I'm too curious now. I mean, I am curious. I pride myself in my curiosity, whatever. Okay. But did you ever utilize or use chat roulette in the brief time it was not
Two times, and that was two times too many.
Was it at the stage of penises? Yeah. There was this brief time, like maybe 3-4 weeks before the masturbators, where it felt really magical. Like you would just click on, I'd be talking to a librarian in Texas, or I'd be talking to a bunch of dudes partying in Ukraine, and or like somebody in Africa. It was pristine. It was kind
I
of
missed
beautiful.
that just a little
And
too
then
much.
just like that, penis, 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 penis.
Yes. From penises to peepkins. How's that for
It's good and bad.
No, but I also really honestly, like, I really looked into your creative team that was behind the thing, and the artwork of Jeremy Bullis, like how he layered it. And it's like, and from the like towers that he built, you can literally see how, like, that's how he created the art and the music and the stories. And like Stu Jenkins, like he's had this story forever. Like, you guys are so much fun, the way that all of y'all have built this in. I have to say, it's really speaking of magic, and I'm not just blowing that. Like, it really is.
You can feel the world that they wanted, you know? And because they had been, I mean, Jeremy had been doing this, like thinking about this world since he was 5.
And see, I love that. And then, and you have Hatch that you've been building in a certain way for ages. And I think maybe that's why it feels so alive. It didn't feel like it was just created in somebody's office, that, you know, and the artwork having come from years of doing that kind of artwork. And so I really applaud that, because it does have a living depth to it.
Oh, Traci, thank you. You put that so beautifully, because, and I think you're tapping into why I got emotional singing the songs, because you can feel the care and the love. Initially, the creators wanted to know, I think maybe out of like protocol, if I wanted to be Noah, if I wanted to change some, you know, maybe Noah's name or something like that. But then they kind of shyly suggested during our first meeting that I play Hatch, and I felt this overwhelming relief. I was like, Hatch, I feel like, I don't know, like Hatch feels very much like the sincerity of all the characters, but the sincerity of Hatch and her deep friendship with Noah, that like, that feels like, you know, we were talking about earlier, like safe, you know, the safety of that. There's only complication in their friendship that they kind of know, that they sort of, I think it's about Hatch wanting to, you know, explore the world, to find like, and she, you know, marches to the beat of her own drum, and Noah is there for like safety and guidance. And there's just something beautiful about their loyalty as well, you know.
You can feel that. And this has just been just a delightful conversation.
Traci, I would love to talk with you more. I would love to you know, talk to you about my other podcast at some point.
I would love that as well.
The naughty one, you know?
It would be my pleasure, but I know you're very busy today, so I really, really treasure your time and appreciate it. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You said some incredibly thoughtful And I really appreciate your thoughts on it. Really,
Thank
thank you.
you.
It feels rare. Thank you very much.
Thank
Ideas
you.
should be heard.
Thank you.